Alright, so I'm working on the 2011 F250 6.2 liter today and dealing with a issue that came up. I'll show you. Alright, check fuel cap. So that may be something that you've seen on your truck before. And then the little icon on the display here, depending on which cluster you have, it may show up different, or it may just show up as a check engine light. So unfortunately, this doesn't always necessarily mean that the problem is with the fuel cap. What this code that's coming up is telling us is that there's a small leak detected in the evaporative emission system on your vehicle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hook up a code reader, find out exactly which code we're getting. P0442, evap emission control system, small leak. Alright, so obviously the first thing to check would be your fuel cap. Now, there's a couple different things that it can be on these trucks. It could be actually that you do have a bad fuel cap, and it's kind of rare, but it's something to check. You want to make sure that it's tightened to where it clicks a couple times when you put it down. In my case, when I take the fuel cap off, you'll notice there's quite a bit of rust around the fuel filler, and the seal on the fuel cap is pretty gunked up. So it really could be the fuel cap. Another thing that can cause this code is under the hood, back on intake manifold right in here, is the purge control solenoid. And what that does is that is what allows vacuum to go to the evap lines to draw the fuel vapor out of the fuel tank. What can happen is sometimes that solenoid can stick partially open. When it shuts off, it doesn't seal as well as it should, which can also indicate to the computer that there's a small leak when it runs its tests. And it usually runs its tests when you're driving under low load for a long period of time. It starts running the system monitors, and that's when my check fuel cap light came on. It has no way to determine if it's really the fuel cap, it just knows there's a small leak. Alright, so I'm just hoping it's just this, the combination of the crud around here and the seal. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a new fuel cap. So here it is. Just got back from the Ford dealer. Here is the part number. Motorcraft part number on top. Ford part number, the HC3Z number. These are similar for multiple years. This one's yellow, which just means it's flex fuel. They did have it in stock. It was about $16. So if you look at the seal on this one, you can see how it's supposed to look. And it's fat. You can compress it with your finger, nice and rubbery. My old cap here, it's pretty dry. I guess it's got a lot of gunk on it, and it's getting kind of brittle. So there is definitely a chance with that rust that it's not sealing well. So I'm going to go ahead and as a first step, we're going to try replacing the fuel cap. If that does not fix the problem, we'll move on to diagnosing under the hood there the solenoid valve. And there is, if you have a scan tool, there's a really easy way to test the solenoid valve. There's also, I'll leave a link to another video below that shows you how to test it without a scan tool, just by unplugging it and checking the vacuum with your finger. Alright, so like I said, I'm going to try the fuel cap. We'll reset the codes, drive it for a little bit, see if it fixes it. The main things that can cause a P0442 would be a loose or improperly affixed gas cap, a non-original gas cap, so it wouldn't seal properly because it's not a factory one. You could have a small leak or hole in a vapor hose that runs from the gas tank to the front of the truck. You could have a faulty vent O-ring seal on the tank itself, or up on the purge control solenoid that I showed you. And really, you want to start with the simplest things. Just remove and reinstall the gas cap, clear the codes, drive it for a day, see if the codes come back. You can also inspect the lines under the truck for cracks and cuts, And that's kind of like a needle in a haystack though, trying to find something like that. Also common things that mechanics do is a smoke test, where you inject smoke into the evap lines and then you'll see it come out wherever the problem is, if it is a crack in the line. And then, like I said, sometimes that purge control solenoid up front can be what's causing your issue as well. Alright, so what I'm doing to clean this up is I'm just taking a little bit of sandpaper, going through and getting the rust off. Then I'll use some of this rust remover, which is just an acid to basically dissolve the rust. I'll put a little coat of paint or something on here, try to keep it from rusting again, let it dry real good, and I'll use the new gas cap. Alright, so I've got it all kind of cleaned the best I can. Use a little bit of sandpaper on here. You don't want to go crazy though, you don't want to change the surface, but got it cleaned up pretty good. And I used the acid to clear off most of the rust, and what's left is just where it's kind of turned black, where it's left a little bit of a, it's converted the rust that won't come out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it with this top coat paint right here. It's a really durable finish made by P0442. So I've got it masked off here, and that way I can just spray a little bit on there to keep it from rusting again. Then I'll let that dry for a day and then put the new gas cap on. One thing that I noticed when comparing the old gas cap and the new one is that the new design has this beveled edge right here, which allows it to kind of center the gas cap in place once it's tightened down. Whereas the old one, it was just the rubber seal was there, and then but you could still kind of wiggle it in place. The new one kind of locks it down a little bit tighter, which is good. Hopefully that helps prevent this from happening again. Alright, get it all back together. Before I go for a drive, I'm going to go ahead and erase the codes. Be sure. Alright, so I've cleared the codes. Now we have no more light. I will take it for a drive. Alright, I just got back from a nice long drive and we've got no more light on, so I'm hoping that that fixed the problem. Sometimes it really is that easy. Hopefully it's just the gas cap for you. If not, you can try some of the other suggestions that I gave. Hopefully this video helped you out. Talk to you later.